Good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good night, whenever you're watching this here teacher show video. Thank you again for joining me. My name is Deshaun Johnson. If you haven't watched any other videos on this channel, that's who I am. And what we're going to be talking about right now is the topic of teaching profession not being I just need a job sort of profession. It's not. This is not the place where you can actually sit up here and say, man, my bills are due and I just needed some way to make money and I just needed a job. And probably a lot of times that's the case for a lot of people. That's probably a miserable reason to get into teaching. It's almost like jumping into the deep end of water and not knowing how to swim. You jumped in there. You just needed to get your feet wet. You wanted to see what the water felt like, but you don't have any of the skills necessary in order to navigate the deep side of the pool at all, to carry yourself, to swim underwater, to backpedal, to, I forgot what you call this position where you're just stationary in the water, but you're able to carry yourself up. It's on the tip of my tongue. Somebody put in the comment section in terms of what you call it. But that's how it is if you get into teaching with that reason. You get in here, the state of education is in a place of desperation where they're just hiring people, Starbucks baristas, anybody off the streets to fill their classrooms. And I did a video a while back talking about anybody can be a teacher. And that's just not the case. I'm of a firm belief that this is a genuine calling because you're dealing with you're dealing with the spiritual nature of students, especially if you work in a Title I environment. You're dealing with the sort of demons they bring into the classroom. You're dealing with these behaviors, their home issues, all these things. And the education system, as we currently exist in right now, they're not going to teach you crisis management or how to let certain profane words bounce off of your skin like some sort of bullet bounces off of Superman's impenetrable skin. They're not going to teach you those things. And people come in, especially if they're just hiring people off the streets and inexperienced people are going to come in with their street personality or their lack of skills developed in order to properly handle crisis situations. When you're being confronted, when you're being physically confronted and verbally assaulted, when your life hangs in a balance and you're threatened, how do you keep finding the energy and the strength and the motivation to keep coming back and endure those sorts of things? That's why this is not a profession where you can just sit up here and say, I just need a job. I just needed some work or whatever. If you need that, you can go work in retail. Go work at Walmart or go work somewhere else where you just need to have and bring in some money. You may even do better just trying to, I'm not a fan of this. I'm not, because as you can see right now, if you consider YouTube social media, I'm here as well, but I'm still also in the classroom. I still have a career. This is my 10th year doing it, but you'll probably do better, probably even better just trying to make money off of posting on social media, whatever that may mean or whatever. You may be posting and putting affiliate links or whatever the case may be. I've also been doing this internet here game for quite some time, which is why I'm on YouTube and why I still sell products and everything else. I have another tech YouTube channel that I've been working on for years now. But my focus, I switched from that to focus more on teaching because I think a voice is actually needed, a balanced voice, because I'm not all about just putting the onus on administration. And I know those types of videos are popular in terms of just blaming everybody else because of the way education is. But one question that still sticks in my mind in terms of how can we fix education, and before I didn't have an answer, but after having some conversations, after really pondering the question that was, if Mr. Tom Reingold is still watching these videos, I don't know if he is or anything like that, but he was a commenter that left the question, like, how do we fix education? And you know what? I may be at a point I may be privileged to say that I have an answer. And right now, you by yourself, you may not be able to affect the entire system, but I believe education is fixed in the state that it is, one teacher at a time. You can only control the classroom that you have and manage it the best way that you can, and to teach it and teach the students in the best way possible, regardless of the hands that you're dealt. I don't have any control over the kids that come to my classroom, whoever the counselors decide, the administration, however all that works. I take the kids that I got because I already know I'm going to have some knuckleheads. I already know the archetype of students that I'm going to have in my classroom. I'm going to have the knucklehead. I'm going to have the student that's consistently considered a behavior issue, but never absent. I'm going to have those students. I'm going to also have the smart kids, but I'm also going to have smart kids who are complete a-holes, who think they know everything. They want to challenge the teacher when they don't have enough grounding or evidence or wisdom to actually substantiate their claims. And that's not saying that I'm always right, but sometimes kids just want to challenge you because they have an ulterior motive. They're trying to drag the time down. They're trying to run the shot clock down so that way they can get you off track from teaching, and they actually are leaving the classroom laughing and high-fiving their peers going, ha, we got Mr. to not teach us today and not talk about this. He's so boring. I don't want to listen to him, whatever. The smart kids are an issue just as much as misbehaving students. But all this comes with experience. And the way that I'm going to consistently bring this up, because it is my survival point. It's my compass always. That's a biblical foundation. I know a lot of people may not hear that. You may like immediately turn off the camera the minute that you hear that, but it's true. How else am I able to endure and deal with some of the types of heavy laden sins that, students come in with when they come in wanting to curse you out and be defiant and rebellious and buck up to adults and these sorts of things? We're constantly looking for external sources. Well, the administration just needs to deal with this. And where's the parents at? We need to bring in some police and everything. None of that's going to happen. None of that's going to happen at all. I think when you are able to accept that reality as fast as possible, you actually have a better classroom experience. Know that you're going to get the many archetype of students that I actually just talked about. And if you're in an extremely dangerous environment, get out the classroom. I've also said that in prior teacher videos as well. You have to be able to get out of the classroom and find there is a such thing as greener pastures. Don't let people believe you that tell you that the grass isn't always greener. A lot of the times it is. I left teaching English years ago to teach an elective, and I've been teaching an elective ever since. And sometimes I'll go back into teaching English if I feel like I want to challenge myself, or more money is going to be offered to go back in a core classroom. And usually I'm blessed to be in a position where administration recognizes maybe where my strengths actually lie, and they're ready to actually find some way to compensate me for that. It may not even be through the traditional pay scale, but it's through something. And then that's how I've been able to actually last this long into and going into my 10th year, now going into my 11th year for the 25-26 school year. So I make this video again. If you are in the classroom, you got this job because you're like, I just needed to have some work. I needed a job. This isn't going to be the profession for you. And I get our economic times. These are some very hard economic times. And you may actually have been in IT. I've been in IT for quite some time as a web designer and developer, but my main job was teaching. Honestly, I never really wanted to really make web design development a full-time career. I was blessed to leave, do it a year, but I wanted to be back in the classroom. I was like, I just would rather just do websites for myself and not really anybody else, just whatever. I wasn't really interested in client work or anything for that matter. I prefer to make courses. I'll make some products that teach people how to do the things that I know how to do, but having clients and everything else, I'm not really interested in that. So, but if you're in this profession, and even if you've been a computer programmer or whatever the case may be, and they fired you, they laid you off from some tech company, and you're just, maybe you got into teaching because you just needed, a job to lay you over, it's not going to be a strong enough reason to do this. It's just not. I would actually encourage you to just leave. If you decided to commit it to a 1-year contract, finish the contract out. Don't try to quit it mid-year. If it's just that terrible, then just know that you are going to burn a bridge, and you're not going to be invited back into the classroom. And for you, that may be good, because you may have permanent plans to permanently ban yourself from ever being invited back into this profession because you had a terrible experience. But for those of you who are of the ilk right now, that this is I'm just doing this for a paycheck, I just needed a job, I would advise you to actually I try really avoid people giving people advice. Very meta of me to say, because these videos are, you can pretty much say they're advice driven though, but let me make a suggestion. Just get out and go find something else where you don't have to deal with the consistent verbal onslaught. You're not worried about building student relationships. You just needed a job. This ain't that type of profession. There is a spiritual component to this. That spiritual component, again, like I said, is that you're dealing with the sort of traumas, the abuse, the misconnections, the lack of relationships the students have at home, and they're bringing it up here and they're bringing it to you in an environment where they feel like they're forced legally to have to sit up here and learn in a way that the state tells them to. Because another thing is too, is that a lot of schools are moving to a scripted type of curriculum. Teachers are being usurped of having to have the creativity to teach however they want to. And, you know, in some ways that could be a good thing. It keeps everybody consistent. If Mrs. Sally Joe is teaching one way, but her co-teacher is teaching another way, and they're both English teachers, for the same grade level, then, I mean, that could cause a lot of inconsistencies in terms of what the school is actually trying to achieve on a uniform level. So, you know, the scripted curriculum could be a good thing in that regard, but again, and it may actually be good for somebody who's inexperienced and they don't actually know where to start. Scripted curriculum could be good in that regard as well. But I want to get ahead of myself. Again, this video, I just wanted to quickly talk about and discourage you. If you're in this profession, getting in this profession again because you just needed a job, because times are hard and I'd have to apply and just do something, you're going to have a very terrible experience, especially if you come in not wanting to be coachable. You have the attitude as if, you know, somebody should be training you. And I'm gonna be honest with you, a lot of schools aren't really great at training their inexperienced teachers right now either. So you're probably gonna be thrown in the classroom and be told good luck. And that's also gonna sour your experience as well. So what are you going to do when you have that, if that is your experience? They tell you and just throw you into the deep end and tell you good luck, here's the students, and then they put you in this kind of Dhar Mann episode situation. Kung Fu teacher knows Kung Fu, teaches classrooms of misfits or something. Maybe you don't know Kung Fu, but that's the type of environment you got some misfits. They just told you good luck. They just want you to figure it out. And if you don't figure it out, then it's your fault. We had to let you go. We had to cut our losses and make this as painless as possible. And we'll just put you in with a sub in the meantime, which to me is backwards, but it happens. So anyway, what I want y'all to do is make sure that you subscribe to the Teacher Show. Lots of things be talked about down there in the email subscription list. Trouble in Paradise is now available on Audible. So go ahead and check that out as well. But thank you again for watching. You have a different opinion, leave a comment below, and I'll see y'all in the next one.